I hate baseball. Baseball team. I always
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and please remain standing for the invocation by Monsignor Michael Manning. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Talk loud, this helps.
Right on, Jay.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome. Special night of congratulations for sure. Usually it gets shut off when they want me to. That's great. I define a leader as anyone who takes responsibility for finding the potential in people, have the courage to develop that potential. The healthy and strong individual officer is the one who asks for help when he needs it, whether he has an abscess on his knee or on his soul. Leadership is not about being in charge. It's about taking care of those in your charge. Let us pray. Lord, as we congratulate our officers this night who are promoted through a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, commitment, compassion, vision, and integrity. Integrity, doing the right thing when no one's watching. Compassion, putting yourself in the shoes of those that are hurting and imagining how you have felt when you faced the same thing. So, Lord, we pray this night that their vision of law enforcement and faith in life might be so strong that they will not be compelled to compete, but complete each other with the gifts and talents they see in others and each other. And in that experience, recognize that in the final analysis, none of us has it all together, but together we have it all. And that's why it's so important to recognize that lives are saved, people are helped, the department moves forward when people work as a team in the community, in the department. May they, Lord, always act justly, love tenderly, and walk humbly with you, their God. God bless. Congratulations to all of you, whose loved ones have been promoted. Thank you.
Thank you.
Please be seated. Thank you, Monsignor Mannion. This regular meeting of the Township Council is being held in accordance with the schedule of the meetings of the Township Council, established and adopted by Township Council, which schedule designated date, time, and place of this meeting. Adequate public notice of this meeting has been provided pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act. We are using electronic amplifying and recording device in order to obtain a clear and audible record, and request all those wishing to speak, you recognize and state your name and address directly to the microphone. The recording device will be solely utilized by the Township Clerk's Office for the preparation of minutes and shall be the official record of the Township Council meetings. Madam Clerk, may I have the roll call, please?
Mr. Hutchison?
Present.
Ms. Graves? Here. Mr. Mignon?
Here.
Mrs. Stubbs?
She is ill.
Mrs. Winters? Here. Mrs. Strato?
She had a family matter.
Mr. Mercado?
Present.
Mr. Carlinier?
Here.
Mr. Cardis?
Here.
Chief Harkins?
Here.
Mr. Chadwell?
Here. We have a special presentation this evening. Chief Harkins.
Thank you, Council President. Thank you all, Council, for allowing us to perform this It's a big deal for officers. It's a big deal for the community. It's a big deal for the members of the Gloucester Township Police Department. It's a joyous occasion when we have promotions. Officers that work through their whole careers become leaders. Tonight we have promotions across the board. And also, I don't want to minimize, we have a new officer who's coming on board, who's been sworn in, graduated police academy. We also have, we're going to introduce our newest canine officer, Canine Venus, to us. And we're also going to have a presentation of our OEM coordinator who's stepping down after years of service. So I appreciate the time and for the community to be here to celebrate this event. And so at this time, I'd ask Council President Mercado if you would join us, Mayor. At this time, I'd like to call up Captain Brian McKendry. You come forward with your family, please. Captain McKendry will be ceremoniously being sworn in to the position of Deputy Chief of the Gloucester Township Police Department. A little bit about Brian. I've had the honor, I was Brian's training officer. It starts to tell you how old you start to feel when people are coming through. Prior to being hired as he served in the United States Navy from 1989 to 1993. He also served his country in the New Jersey Army National Guard from 1995 to 1999. He was hired as a Gloucester Township police officer on January 25th, 1999. He was promoted to sergeant on September 4th, 2004, and served as a patrol deputy platoon commander. He was promoted to lieutenant on February 23rd, 2010, and at that time he was assigned as a platoon commander. He also was appointed as a crisis negotiator on February 1st, 2010. He also served as the commander of the crisis negotiation team from 2010 to 2016. He was appointed as our Traffic Services Bureau Commander on February 16, 2011. And he was appointed as our Investigations Bureau Commander on July 8, 2015. On August 22, 2016, he was promoted to captain, and he served as the Administrative Services Division Commander during that time. He was officially promoted to Deputy Chief of Police on December 6, 2021, and he currently serves as the Crime Control Section Commander. He has been awarded 1 Merit Award, 11 Distinguished Unit Citations, 4 Police Service Citations, and 5 Outstanding Police Work Letters. He's a graduate of the 270th session of the FBI National Academy, and he's earned his master's degree in criminal justice from California University in Pennsylvania. And tonight he's joined by his family, his wife, Adrian, his daughters, Alyssa and Christina, his parents, Frederick and Janice, and his mother-in-law, Mrs. Jean Pierce. And I could say Janice, I know Janice and my mother work together. We've known each other a long time, so the connections to the community grow deep. So at this time, Mayor, I would respectfully request that you would swear in Brian McKendry to Deputy Chief of Police.
I didn't know if the resume was going to end. Quite a list of accomplishments, so congratulations on your promotion. If you could please raise your right hand, place your left hand on the Bible, and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Brian McKendry,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey.
and that I will bear true faith
I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same
and allegiance to the same,
and to the governments established
to the governments established
in the United States
in the United States
and in this state
and in this state,
under the authority of the people.
under the authority of the people.
I further solemnly swear
I further solemnly swear
that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
and justly perform
all of my responsibilities
all of my responsibilities
as Deputy Chief
as Deputy Chief
in the Gloucester Township Police
in
Department
the Gloucester Township Police Department
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Steve.
Congratulations. Thank At this time, I would call Lieutenant Jason Gibbons forward with his family. And it's crazy for me to see him with his son here. Jason and I went to high school together, played football together at Highland High School. So again, it runs deep here. And then we served together many different capacities, working here at the Gloucester Township Police Department. Jason was hired as a Gloucester Township police officer on January 27th, 1997. He was appointed as a patrol shift investigator in July of 2000. He was appointed as a member of the Special Response Team on January 24, 2002 until March 21st, 2016. This included serving as the team commander from 2010 until 2016. He was appointed as a detective on July 15, 2002 and served in the Juvenile Investigations Unit and the Special Investigations Unit. He was promoted to sergeant on April 1st, 2004 and served as a patrol deputy platoon commander. He was promoted to lieutenant on October 25th, 2010. He served as a patrol platoon commander, the Traffic Services Bureau commander, the Investigations Bureau commander, and finally the Community Relations Bureau commander before he was promoted to captain on December 6, 2021 officially, and is currently assigned as the Community Services Division commander. He was awarded the Gloucester Township Police Supervisor of the Year in 2014. He has received the following awards. He was awarded a citation for heroism for his actions on July 18, 2008, where he put his life in danger by diving into a deep lake while trying to save the life of a young girl who had drowned in the lake. He appeared at this scene, first officer on the scene, report of a drowning in the summer, stripped off all his gear in full uniform, and spent 15 to 20 minutes attempting to dive to save the life of the child who unfortunately had already passed and had drowned. He also received 10 Distinguished Unit citations, 2 Police Service citations, and 6 Outstanding Police Work Letters. And tonight he is joined here with his family, his wife, Michelle, his son, Chase, his mother-in-law, Gloria, his father, retired Gloucester Township Police Corporal Bob Engel. Mayor, President Mercado, I respectfully request you promote Jason Gibbons to the rank of Captain of Police for the Gloucester Township Police Department.
If you could please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Jason Gibbons,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith
and I will bear true faith
and allegiance
and allegiance
to the governments established
to the governments established
in the United States
in the United States
and in this state
and in this state,
under the authority of the people.
under the authority of the people.
I further solemnly swear
I further solemnly swear
that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
and justly perform
all of my responsibilities
all my responsibilities
as captain
as
in
captain
the Gloucester Township Police Department
in the Gloucester Township Police
to the
Department
best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Captain.
At this time, I would ask Sergeant Paul Fisher to come forward with his family. At this time, I would introduce Paul and his family. Paul when he first got hired, he was my dispatcher when I was a sergeant on the road. So it's great joy for me if you see that I'm smiling tonight, because it's great to see all these people that I work with that we put so much time and effort to see them become leaders of this police department. And they're really, I can't put it into words how great people they are. Prior to being hired as a police officer, Lieutenant Fisher served the Gloucester Township Police Department as a dispatcher from August 2003 and as a Class 1 Special Law Enforcement Officer from April 2006 until he was hired as a police officer on July 17, 2006. He has served as a member of the United States Coast Guard Reserves since August 21, 2004, and currently holds the rank of Chief Boatswain's Mate. He was promoted to sergeant on June 1st, 2015, and was assigned as a patrol deputy platoon commander. He was promoted to lieutenant on January 5th, 2022, officially, and is currently assigned as a patrol platoon commander. Paul is also the recipient of a Heroism Award for his actions on August 20th, 2008, where he entered a house that was on fire on Glendora and assisted in the rescue of a trapped 5-year-old child who survived. Paul and another special officer who had arrived made attempts to gain entry. The conditions were deteriorating, and they directed the firefighters that responded to make the rescue. And thankfully, this young man is still alive and still comes around. I just had the honor of meeting him at a fire department retirement at Hughes Landing Fire Department earlier this year. He has also been awarded 3 Distinguished Unit Citations, 3 Police Service Citations, and 6 Outstanding Work Letters. Lieutenant Fisher is joined tonight by his wife, Nicole, and his daughter, Abigail. Mayor, President Mercado, I respectfully request that you swear in Paul Fisher to the rank of Police Lieutenant for the Gloucester Township Police Department.
Good job. If you could raise your right hand, thank you. Please repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to all of the governments established in the United States and in this state under the authority of the people. I further solemnly swear that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all of my responsibilities as a lieutenant in the Gloucester Township Police Department to the best of my ability. So help me God. Congratulations.
Good job, Ad. At this time, I would ask Officer Jason Smith and his family to approach. You can't miss Officer Smith, the tallest Gloucester Township police officer. I've had the honor of being friends with Officer Smith personally throughout our time. His wife and my sister were best friends, so we've known them for a long time. Again, it's a joy for us to see them get promoted through this great organization, Gloucester Township Police Department. He served as a Class 1 Special Police Officer for the Gloucester Township Police Department from March 1st, 2010 until September 22nd, 2010. He also served as a Corrections Officer for the Camden County Department of Corrections from September 23rd, 2010 till December 31st, 2010, and was hired as a Gloucester Township Police Officer on January 3rd, 2011. He has been assigned as a patrol officer, a DARE and lead instructor school resource officer. He was assigned as a roving school resource officer in September of 2018 and was assigned to our elementary and middle schools. In September 2019, he was assigned as the school resource officer for the Highland Regional High School. He was officially promoted to sergeant on January 3rd, 2022, and is currently assigned as a patrol deputy platoon commander. He has been awarded 2 distinguished unit citations and has received 6 outstanding police work letters. One thing I'll say about Jason is, as you heard from his bio, he has had a great deal of influence in our juvenile programs, and more important, the influence that he's had, positive influence he's had on countless juvenile and kids, because that job is not an easy one, but the temperament of the officer, and he's there, his primary duty is to protect the children, and they were in good hands doing that. But there will be futures of kids that come out that have had a positive influence from our officers, and especially Sergeant Smith. Tonight, he's joined by his wife, Mary Beth, his son, Lucas, and his daughter, Finley. Mayor, President Mercado respectfully requests that you promote Jason Smith to the rank of Sergeant of Police for the Gloucester Township Police Department.
You're making me feel old, because I can remember in 2011 when I swore you in as patrolman. So congratulations on your promotion. If you could please repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Jason Smith,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith
and that I bear true faith
and allegiance to
and allegiance to
the governments established
the government established
in the United States
in the United States
and in this state
and in this state
under the authority of the people.
under the authority of the people.
I further solemnly swear
I further solemnly swear
that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
and justly perform
all of my responsibilities
all my responsibilities
as sergeant
as sergeant
in the Gloucester Township Police Department
in the Gloucester Township Police
to the best of my ability.
Department. Best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Sergeant.
At this time, I would ask Officer Salvatore DeGrazia and his family to come forward. You bring the baby up. That's the star of the show here. Gotta have it. So Officer DeGrazia was born and raised is a product of Gloucester Township Schools. He's a 2008 graduate of Highland High School. He was hired as a Gloucester Township police officer on August 2nd, 2021, and attended and graduated from the Camden County College Police Academy basic class number 79 on December 16th, 2021. And with the support of his wife, Marissa, he achieved his goal of his dream of becoming a law enforcement officer in the town he called home for 31 years. Here's the special story. This is why the baby's got to be here. He's the only officer that I've ever heard of or seen or even heard of anything. The day after Officer DeGrazia got hired, he began the police academy. His wife welcomed their first child, their son, Giuliano, to the family. So he got hired and then had to have a baby, 2 days after, a day after getting hired. Now, let me tell you, folks, that stress, I can't even begin. Having a baby, your first baby is enough, and then having it in the police academy is evening. So that is, you should get an award for that, and she should get an award for that. I can tell you for all that. And I saw him here tonight, Detective John Ritchie, who is retired. I think Detective John Ritchie and you will always have a bond because he talked you off the ledge a couple times, right? It's good stuff. He's currently assigned to the 3rd Patrol Platoon, and tonight he's joined by his family, his son, and his wife, Marissa, who so deservedly gets to enjoy this moment as well. So, Mayor, President Mercado, I respectfully request that you swear in Salvatore DeGrazia as a police officer for the Gloucester Township Police Department.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Salvatore DeGrazia,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to support the Constitution of the United States
to support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith
and I will bear true faith
and allegiance to
and allegiance to
all the governments established
all the governments established
in the United States
in the United States
and in this state
and in this state
under the authority of the people.
under the authority of the people.
I further solemnly swear
I further solemnly swear
that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
and justly perform
all of my responsibilities
all of my responsibilities
as a police officer
as a police officer
in the Gloucester Township Police Department
in the Gloucester Township Police
to
Department
the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
So, give me a badge. Just slide. So whenever a police officer graduates from the police academy, we typically do this ceremony with his family, but due to the pandemic, Officer DeGrazia had to do a virtual graduation ceremony, so it was very limited. We couldn't have officers come and do our normal thing, so we decided to do it tonight. And what we do is we always present a new officer. Every Gloucester Township police officer has this. And this is our mission statement. And it is about who we are and what we do. And I won't bore you with all of it, but I'll just finish with this. This is the last line. We constantly seek to achieve these objectives and ideals, dedicating ourselves to our chosen profession, which is law enforcement. And we're honorably presenting this to Sal DeGrazia, Officer Sal DeGrazia, badge number 320 on the 28th day of March, 2022. So Sal, we look for you to hang this up in a prominent place. Most officers do, because it's a reminder of our oath and our dedication to the Gloucester Township Police Department and the community that we serve. So we have that. We also have a tradition. Every officer, we carry what are called our challenge coins. And it goes back to military tradition through time, where it's an identifier. It identifies the unit that you were from. And we go through this, and it means something to us. Every officer has challenge coins that have their badge. This badge number 320 will never be issued to anyone else. It'll be Sal's for eternity. And we inscribe that, and they earn this. They earn this by graduating the police academy and earn it by graduating through the field training officer program. And it's our logo, and it has our ideals stamped right in the coin, which is compassion, courage, honesty, respect, fairness, and integrity. So I proudly present these to you also. Sal, congratulations. Good. Congratulations. The special swearing in is Officer Evans, if you could come forward. We're introducing everyone to our newest member of our K-9 unit, K-9 Venus. brought forward by her handler, Officer Jim Evans. So just a little bit about Venus. Venus is a 4th generation black and tan bloodhound. She was born on March 7th, 2020 to a breeder in South Carolina. Jim went down to South Carolina and spent 2 weeks learning. He learned how to did basic training with her, got to get to know her. And then they attended a very rigorous training academy. She attended with Officer Evans, the Cape May County Sheriff's Office Canine Training Academy for tracking and trailing from October 18, 2021. And she graduated, both of them graduated on January 7th, 2022 from class number 8. So a little bit about Venus. She is a expert in trailing and tracking. She is very friendly. She slobbers a lot, right? She's very friendly, but I appreciate when we talked about this, there's a great need for us to be able to trail and track more than apprehensions and finding drugs. Her expertise is to go find people. And that with missing children, missing Alzheimer's patients, people that go missing all the time. She is a tool that we'll get great use out of over the years, a capability that's hard to find throughout the South Jersey area. And so Jim was chosen as the right handler for it, and he's put in the dedication and time. And again, Jim had a baby during this time, amongst other 3 children right now? 4. I'm sorry, 4. So he had number 4 just as he was going through. So his wife deserves the award also tonight. So, but we're going to ceremoniously swear in Canine Venus. And so, Mayor, President Mercado, I respectfully request you swear in Canine Venus as a canine officer of the Gloucester Township Police Department.
Thing, Chief. Officer Evans, thanks for wanting to be a canine officer. It really takes a special person, so thank you. And unless you're going to tell me Venus can speak, I'm going to have you speak for her. Is that all right? I know she's special, but I don't know if she's that special, right? If you just please repeat after me. Venus supports the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, and she will bear true faith and allegiance to the same and to the governments established in the United States and in this state under the authority of the people. Venus will Venus will further solemnly swear. No, that's not right. You just threw me off. No. Venus. Venus will. I did it 10 times tonight. I can't remember. Thoughts that Venus will impartially, you got it right, and justly perform all of her responsibilities as a canine in the Gloucester Township Police Department to the best of her ability. Congratulations, Venus.
Put her badge on.
Good girl.
That concludes our swearing in. We have one other presentation. If I would ask that Captain Ray Evans, our Emergency Management Coordinator, come forward to be recognized. I also ask Lieutenant John Swack, who's our forthcoming Emergency Management Coordinator, to join me. So tonight we're recognizing a lifetime of service of someone that has served the Township of Gloucester I was a little kid when Ray started doing the stuff that he was doing. And I had the honor and the pleasure of working with Ray when I got hired, and then he supervised me for a time, and we always worked together. We were volunteer firefighters together at Shoes Landing Fire Department, where Ray continues to serve. So Captain Evans, he's concluding his service as the Emergency Management Coordinator for the Township of Gloucester, in which he has served in this position for 11 years, but that's not really right. It was several years prior to that while he was an active police officer. Captain Evans served as a Gloucester Township police officer for 25 years, a little over 25 years, and he retired as a captain in 2010. He was officially again appointed as the coordinator of the Office of Emergency Management for the Township of Gloucester on June 1st, 2012. Ray has been a life member of the Shoes Landing Fire Company, serving both as a line officer and as a commissioner, a position that he currently holds as a commissioner. Ray has played an integral part in ensuring that Gloucester Township Emergency Services are prepared and ready to respond to any emergency, whether that be a natural disaster, a terrorist event, a man-made disaster, or even what he commonly handled very well, weather emergencies, kind of like that snow squall that blew through. Ray has brought all the many disciplines that he has, his expertise in all these areas together, his experience in the fire service and as a police officer. And so Ray is stepping down from his duties as coordinator. He actually stepped back, and this is what a gentleman is, and an honor to serve with him. And he stepped back from the coordinator role on June 1st, 2021. And he stayed on board and helped us transition to a new OEM coordinator, Lieutenant John Swack, who's a retired police lieutenant from the Gloucester Township Police Department. And Ray made sure that everything got transitioned smoothly, clearly, and cleanly, which, believe me, is not easy. There's a lot of paperwork involved with being the emergency management coordinator. And I'm very thankful that the mayor and council allows us to have an emergency management coordinator. For a town this size, coordinating our responses, getting grants, making sure that everything is in line is a very important job. And the job that Ray does was done by a police officer at some point before, but he didn't get any police work done when that was happening. I know because I did that for a little while. So for him to be on to handle that, and the expertise that he had, is the Township of Gloucester was in very good hands, as it is currently with Lieutenant Swack, who Ray trained up. They've had training in the same courses. They've had numerous courses on responding and doing emergency management. So on behalf of the Gloucester Township community, Ray, on behalf of the mayor, council president, Ricardo, we wanted to just recognize you. Again, you had your retirement ceremonies and whatnot, but this is a little bit above and beyond. I look at this more as a volunteer. You didn't have to do this, but you did it because you have the heart to do it and the drive to do it. And you put the town before many, many other opportunities. And your commitment to public safety and for representing our agency and for the township, we wanted to present this small token of appreciation for your service to the town and let you know how much we appreciate it, how much I appreciate it. I speak for Chief Earl, did it for years, and it's an honor to serve with you, and we wish you all the best on everything you do. Thank you, Chief Earl.
Captain Evans, first of all, thank you. Thank you for your many years of service to this community. You truly are a man of service. And the chief went through a litany of your service, the volunteer firemen, now serving as a commissioner in the fire district. You're over 25 years with the Gloucester Township Police Department, and then the OEM coordinator. That is truly a man of service, and I thank you for that. I thank Terry and your family for sharing your husband and father with us in this community for all those years. I have to tell you, we had some challenges, Captain, And I always knew that you would have the answers, that you would have everything under control whenever we were challenged. And, you really, truly helped me sleep well at night, knowing that you were there. And, we're fortunate to have you in Gloucester Township. Congratulations on another retirement, but I know you're not very far away. And so wish you and your family the very best. And again, thank you.
Thank you.
So I want to thank and congratulate the officers that were involved. I just want to point out to everyone here in the public, you'll notice that we're wearing mourning bands on our badges. And, we talked about whether we should have them on, and we felt that it was appropriate. This is in honor of the 2 Pennsylvania State Police troopers that were killed in the line of duty. And we're wearing these over our badges to honor them until their funerals. Their funerals will take place this coming Thursday and respectfully Saturday. And we'll have officers attending that. But I just want to say that's what you get out of these officers that are here in the Gloucester Township Police Department. Tonight, we'll have officers going on duty just like those 2 troopers did, and they'll put it on the line and they'll do whatever needs to be done. And it's because of the leadership that we have. There's captains here, our deputy chiefs, lieutenants, sergeants, and those officers that are here that lead the men and women of the Gloucester Township Police Department and ensure that safety takes priority and that commitment to service. So I want to thank Mayor and Council President Mercado and all of council for the support that we get in the police department. We couldn't be as successful as we are without that support. And I speak on behalf of all the officers here. We sincerely appreciate it, all the support, and to all the community members. You'll watch the news and you think that we hear nothing but we get nothing but bad things thrown at the police. And I can tell you that here in Gloucester Township, just have to look at some of our posts. We're regularly getting food delivered to us. We get notes of encouragement, and it's very motivating to all the officers to serve this great community. So I want to thank you, Mayor, for that. Thank you, Council President.
Well, thank you, Chief. It is about leadership, and thank you for your leadership. It is not easy to be a police officer. And I thank every one of you who have chosen a career in law enforcement because you are the backbone of our community in keeping us safe and secure. That's really the number one job, especially in local government. It's making sure our community is safe. And I'm just so very proud of the men and women of the Gloucester Township Police Department. And I say this all the time, the finest police department, not only in New Jersey, but I'm telling you nationally, because they set programs that other departments replicate. And that's leadership. And so I congratulate all the officers that were promoted today for your leadership. All of them very rightly deserved promotions. And I congratulate our new officer and Officer Venus for joining our police department. But it's that cutting edge, it's that leadership that really sets this department apart. There is a reason why crime continues to go down in Gloucester Township year upon year. And that's not easy because our township is growing by leaps and bounds. But to have a continuous impact on crime and to be a part of this community, the fabric of our community through the community policing initiatives that we have, it's just all about the dedication of the men and women of the Gloucester Township Police Department. So I thank all of you for that. Chief, again, thank you for your leadership and your team's leadership. So thank you. Thank you, everybody.
That concludes our presentation. We'll take a 10-minute recess before we start our council meeting. Thank you.
Nice seeing you. Thank you so much.
I see this child saw it. Facial hair here. You. No, you. No, I shaved this morning. We doing pictures up there or what? Now we're doing pictures. Look, I said Kelly's here. It's a man here. Not at all. This way. You can make it. This way. Right here. We're coming. Michelle, we're coming. Oh, this way? This way, Beth. Mom. This way. We're following. She's pointing this way. So follow the way. But they got to be here at 4:30.
Yes, I'm about.
Had to move them, hold on.
What's the advertisement? How would the advertisement on it? I know.
It's like, and then one of the things we did out, so I didn't put the fully aboard.
Yes, there's something.
I don't want to know the rest of that story. I don't think anybody wants to know the rest of that story.
I'll tell you, 3 minutes, I get up.
Sure, thank you, as long as it's a month.
Yeah,
Thank you, Alex.
you're welcome.
Madam Clerk, may I have the roll call again, please?
Mr. Hutchison?
Present.
Ms. Grace? Here. Mr. Mignon?
Here.
Mrs. Winters? Here. Mr. Mercado?
Present.
Mr. Carlemere?
Here.
Mr. Cardis?
Here.
Chief Harkins?
Aye.
Mr. Chadwell?
Here.
When I have the public portion, this is for agenda items only. Anyone wishing to address council may speak. They're limited to 3 minutes. The public portion is 15 minutes for this first public portion. Does anyone like to speak? Mr. Burns.
Good evening, council. Sir? You hear me?
Hit it.
It's Brian Burns, 5 Sullivan Drive in Ariel. I haven't been here for a while. I'm very blessed. I'm retired and I was out enjoying the Grand Canyon and the mountains of Utah and some other beautiful places. And you guys know me by now. I love the outdoors. I love natural resources. And unfortunately, yeah, like most people, I can't spend my entire year traveling. So when I come back home to Gloucester Township, and I'm kind of inspired by all the beautiful things I've seen out there, I come back to council again and say, you know, what can we do to preserve open space? And you guys have listened. And I see that on the resolution tonight. And this is an amazing natural resource that you guys are preserving. And I thank you for listening to me. And I thank you for looking at the evidence that I provided you to substantiate, the value of this resource. In fact, Ken's retired, as you all know, and I took him to the golf course last week, and he saw the Wild Brook Trail, and he's like, "Oh my God, there they are!" And it really is. It's like seeing a living dinosaur. And you guys preserving this land is helping preserve them as well. And we looked at swamp pink plants that are thriving in the area. And I did notify, I took a picture of this and I passed it along to the Murrays and the Hayeses, the 2 property owners, and they're thrilled. So it's certainly, I do realize this is just part of the process. It's going to be a while. But I am curious now that Ken has retired, why the township is outsourcing the Green Acres process to Triad. I'm not really sure why that's taking place, but does anyone know why that's taking place?
Yeah, well, basically, Ken was very knowledgeable and informative in school of how to work with the Green Acres department. So until we can get together with the department head that's there now to the same level Ken was, we thought it best to keep everything moving quickly and to work through Triad, who's very knowledgeable in these type of grant programs, so that we don't skip a beat. So that's why we're doing it through Triad.
Okay, because I have been in contact with both associates there, and they're promptly to get back to me, let me know what's happening. And I did inform them today, because they may not know about Green Acres being 75% funding and the Office of Natural Resource Restoration being 25% funding. So because these properties are in the same proximity to the GEMS landfill as the Roslyn Bridge, these properties too should qualify for the additional 25% funding. So it's a win-win for everybody in the township. So thank you guys. This is big. And, hopefully I helped you see the forest through the trees and this is going to get preserved. And it's a big tract of land. It's about 200 acres, and that does not include the HOA of the Little Mill, because Little Mill Townhouse is something that's back there. They have about 40 acres. So this is wonderful, wonderful natural resources that's being preserved for future generations. And when you guys step down from council, besides all the apartment buildings and townhouses and everything else that's going up, you can say, guess what? We saved some open space. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Is there anyone else? Yes, sir.
Good evening, Council. How are you? My name is William Hill, 1544 Kearsley Road, Ariel. 2 questions. I seen a person that was panhandling on Blackwood, Clement Road and Laurel Road.
Mr. Hill, is this regarding the agenda?
No.
Okay, we have a second public portion.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Any item, and I'll bring you'll be the first one up, okay? All right. Anyone else on the agenda? Seeing none, we'll close the public portion. Waive reading, and accept the minutes of the regular session, February 14th, 2022, and February 28th, 2022. Entertain a motion.
Second.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison,
Yes, to February 14th, I'll abstain on February 28th.
Ms. Grace,
Yes to February 28th, I stayed on February 14th.
Mr. Mignon,
Yes to both.
Mrs. Winters,
Yes for both.
Mr. Mercado.
Yes to both. Next is ordinance, the second reading. There will be a public hearing. This is ordinance 0-22-03. It's ordinance adopting an updated affordable housing trust fund spending plan for the township of Gloucester. What this does is it requires a spending plan to include the following: a projection of revenues anticipated from imposing fees on development, projection of revenues from other sources, including payments in lieu of constructing affordable units, description of the administrative mechanism that the municipality will use to collect and distribute revenues, description of anticipated use of all affordable housing trust funds, a schedule of expenditures, and if applicable, a schedule for creation of rehabilitation of housing units. Those are just some of the highlights of that. We'll now open up the public hearing. Anyone wish to speak on this? Ms. Coyne.
Good evening, Denise Coyne, 1062 Landing Road.
Good evening.
Good evening. I don't know if you guys have the spending plan. Okay. I have questions that begin on page 3. Page 3 is a projection of revenues for the Affordable Housing Trust Fund 2012 through 2018. It says at the top of the page, but it goes through 2025 on the chart. So am I missing something there?
Mr. Vaca, that's just a.
Yes, and I'm
There,
sorry,
that's
that's a
fine.
typographic error. The numbers are correct for 2019 through 2025.
Okay, then my second question on that is, the figures from 2019, 2020, and 2021, are they actual figures or are we projecting?
I believe they're actual through 2021. That's my understanding.
But you're not sure?
Well, it says it was updated through October 21st, 2021, so I don't know.
So the numbers, the values are valid through the October 21st, 2021.
Because they're the same numbers as what was on the last version before it was updated.
There was many different versions of this. This is the most recent version.
Right, but what I'm saying is these numbers through 2021 were the same numbers on the previous versions that were actually projected.
I'm sorry, these would be our COA the COA amounts that we have.
Yes, from Chris Yetter.
Yeah, these that we're right now, I believe it's 1.3, 1.35. So that's actual numbers.
Again, this is valid from, which we received from your office, Tom. through
I received that from
October 21st,
Christie,
2021.
confirmed that with Christie.
And the reason we use the October 21st, 2021, because that's when we submitted it to the courts. And so we're consistent with that. This is a document that is revised ongoing as necessary.
Okay, on page 5, under administrative mechanism to collect and distribute funds, 2B, under distribution of development fee revenues. It says the municipal housing liaison forwards a recommendation for expenditure of funds to the township clerk. Who is the liaison?
Try it, associate.
Okay, and then it says the township clerk forwards the recommendation to mayor and committee. Who's the committee?
Council.
Okay.
Correct, though.
With an explanation of how the expenditure will advance implementation of the township's affordable housing objectives and whether the expenditures will be consistent with the spending plan. So the clerk forwards, and I'm wondering, it says, the township clerk forwards the recommendation to the mayor and the committee with an explanation. Where does the explanation come from? The clerk or someone else?
That'll actually come from the municipal housing liaison. They're the one that is our administrative agent of the Affordable Housing Trust Fund. So there is a recommendation by the administration and staff of a project that should receive Affordable Housing Trust Fund dollars. That explanation will be passed along in that form through the clerk to mayor and council for their consideration.
But Triad is the one that gives basically the explanation.
Triad and the staff of Gloucester Township.
Okay. And then it says the mayor and committee reviews the request and authorizes the expenditure by resolution. So last year, when the housing authority was going to use the $873,000 from the Affordable Housing Trust Fund to buy the 10-acre Lakeland property, did the mayor authorize giving the money to the housing authority?
It was processed with council through the administration as an appropriate procedure to go forward, but there's never been signed or contracts have never been entered into. It's just, from what I understand, it's just dead in the water.
All right. And then on page 6, it says Gloucester Township will dedicate $3,182,865.87 to rehabilitation or new construction programs. And then it says as follows: rehabilitation program 0, new construction project 0. And the whole $3,182,865.87 is going to the market to affordable program.
That's the projections that we have now. That's
Is there a
basically.
question?
Yeah, the question is, it says above it, Gloucester Township will dedicate $3,182,000 to rehabilitation or new construction programs. But 0 is going to rehabilitation and 0 is going to new construction.
Correct. That top line, we're following the format that was prescribed by the Council on Affordable Housing. So you are in any one of those categories, rehabilitation or new construction. So we're not doing new construction. We're doing market to affordable.
So does that fall under rehabilitation?
Well, rehabilitation, you're relying on grant funds.
Correct.
So then the statement above, Gloucester Township will dedicate $3,182,000 to rehabilitation or new construction programs is a false statement.
I don't think it's a false statement. I think maybe it's poorly worded, and I'll take responsibility for that. But we can actually just add as part of this, just say, we'll just add or to market to affordable, add that into the same line. If that is better wordsmith.
Okay, I mean, is it typical to take all the money and dedicate it to market to affordable and nothing to new construction or rehabilitation?
It's not typical, but very, very, very happy, very, very pleased that Gloucester Township has been able to accomplish that. So we have actually fulfilled all our obligations by appropriately zoning areas of the town. So we no longer have a new construction obligation where the town would be responsible to fund in its entirety if a new construction project was not able to be funded by other sources. So we're able to use all our affordable housing trust fund to go with the market affordable, take existing properties and hopefully bring them into the affordability spectrum for residents within the township.
But currently, we're doing apartments and not houses.
Housing,
Right, but we're doing apartments, right?
it could be many forms. It could be supportive housing for veterans and the disabled. It could be apartments, and it could be single families.
Okay. The last I heard, we were focusing on apartments. That's what we're doing. We're looking to,
I think we're looking at all opportunities.
okay, so the 3,182,865.87, this figure increased by $872,865 from the February 25th, 2019 version of this same report. And that amount is the same amount that was earmarked for the housing authority to buy the 10 acres of lakeland property. So I guess it's safe to assume that that deal's dead. It's not going to happen.
Contracts have never been signed or got past negotiation. That's what my understanding is.
So it's dead, basically. It's not gonna happen.
I would say it's not going anywhere.
I don't believe we're moving forward with it.
Okay. All right, and then, page 7 at the bottom, it says Gloucester Township projects that $1,087,370 will be available from the Affordable Housing Trust Fund to be blah, blah, blah. And then it says, are as follows, : legal, asterisks, and planning fees. And there's no other asterisks on the page. Is there a footnote for the legal?
In the parentheses, legal fees will not be utilized to oppose affordable housing.
Okay, so that's what that means. All right, and what legal fees are involved and who are they paid to?
Legal is actually involved with the township solicitor, as well as any council that mayor and council wishes to appoint.
No, but I'm saying,
Appropriate.
as far as like deciding what to do with this money, how is legal involved? Are there like,
Well, it's all court administered. So the entire process for affordable housing in the state of New Jersey, and the process that we have been participating since 2015, is all through the courts.
right, but I thought that part was done. That's what this is. It's
That
been
part
approved
is
by the
never
court.
done. That
It's
part
never
is
done.
ongoing,
Okay,
all the way through the current round, which ends in 2025. And we expect a round 4, as we like to call it, is probably going to start right in 2026. So it's ongoing coordination with the courts as part of this process, because the Council of Affordable Housing, the Department of Community Affairs, is no longer
right,
in effect.
okay. So then on page 8, down at the bottom, there's a double asterisk. Township has also committed to intent to bond for funding, but there's no double asterisks on the page
And that's
that
all-
statement
that's-
would
that-
apply to.
And I do appreciate that. That should also be eliminated. That was a prior asterisk from when we were funding for new construction. So that'll be eliminated because it's no longer applicable to anything on the page.
Okay. All right, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Is there
you.
anyone else? Mr. Polidoro?
Good evening, Council. Ray Polidoro from the Historic Village of Ariel. I heard mention of some of the plans moving forward. It's the market to affordable, which has been a tough spot for me. And at one point, I thought that council was in agreement that it was a program that the township and or housing authority dumped a boatload of money in and got no results. If you compared the market to affordable up to now or current, it would be like grading a thoroughbred. You base the horse on its past performances, how it can run certain distances. And it seems that you guys have been trying to get this horse to run. It's failed miserably. You've been paying people for something that has had no results, 23, 24 months, and it's showed nothing. I don't understand why a township that is adequately supplying affordable housing within the program prescribed by the state still feels the need to market to affordable. Now, when we first talked about market to affordable, I was in agreement with that. At the time, this township had a vacant home problem, and the market was abysmal, and people were leaving the township, leaving New Jersey in general. Okay, that's not the case anymore. Gloucester Township is in demand. People are buying homes that are dilapidated, fixing them up, and paying a good value. I am not sure why you guys feel the need to move forward. Forget about the money. The idea itself is a miserable failure. You guys shook your heads in the affirmative when we talked about this in the past. Why you're trying to resuscitate or get this horse to run. This horse is a donkey. It's not a horse. There's no sense in putting any more money into this program. Continue to do what you're doing with the affordable housing. For all the new projects that are coming in, we meet our demand. And we always try to have a home for those that need it and try our best to make sure that they can afford to live here. Okay? Some things that you can control is affordable housing and taxes. One, you're not so good at, the other, you're doing very well at. But I just don't understand why any more money needs to go to this affordable housing. You've seen the past performance. The Housing Authority made a joke of it. It was a joke. You can't even talk to them because they can't hold the meeting. I can't answer that. I can't answer that. I can't answer that. What can you answer? It's a joke. Don't let this be a laughing stock part of it here too. You have the ability to just look at the past performance of this program. All the money you threw at it in the past, and it has zero results. And it's going to have zero results. Furthermore, if you use existing houses where they're in demand, the cost is high and the property tax value is good. So you turn a home into an affordable home. And let's say that the property value gives it a $10,000 tax, but it'll get locked in for what you say, 30 years at a rate that will be appropriate for affordable housing. So for 30 years, the value of that will not increase for property taxes. That means that that'll be locked in when you guys raise taxes 2, 3, 4, 5 times. That won't produce any revenue, but the township budget will continue to go up, the spending will go up, and all the things will go up in cost, but that home won't pay another dollar. So where will that money come from? Come from us. We've got to make up that deficit. There's no reason to continue with market affordable. And from what I'm hearing in the conversation that's been going on, we think that and the asterisks and this is not ready. This is not near ready. It's a mess. The whole program's a mess. All the affordable housing things that you got going on, with the exception to market affordable, you guys know you need to remove that. You guys know you can't go anywhere with this. It's a disgrace. Do what you're doing that you do well. Don't flub this. And for any other speakers that need to speak, I'm going to ask again, please bring your microphones close to you. If you don't have a microphone, that's not picking it up, and I'm not picking it up in the back. Please be audible, please be heard, because every answer that you give, especially with things like this or anything in the professional or governmental capacity, needs to be heard. If anyone would like to have a discussion on that, I'd love to hear from you, but you all know market affordable is dead. There's no reason for it. All the money spent, you don't even have a house picked out right now. You got money picked out, but you don't even have a house. You don't have a house that you can go after that and make that market affordable. And the 22, 23 months that Mr. Murray has been on this, he still don't have a house picked out. It's a miserable failure. There's no way that you can keep this in and continue on with it. Do the right thing. By the way, if I'm not mistaken, didn't you guys say that you put it into the hands of the Housing Authority by way of an ordinance? Is that correct?
That's correct.
Do you have the right to rescind that or change that ordinance?
Housing Authority administers the affordable program. You got to realize also, Steve, correct me if I'm wrong, this is a living document. It gets amended periodically. It follows guidelines that's been adopted from COA, Council of Affordable Housing, was more viable than it is now. Now it's through the courts. But this is the guidelines that they set up, and we adopted those when our first substantive service round, our second, our third round. We always put in market to affordable. As far as our fair share plan, our market to affordable this year in our settlement agreement, we pulled out market to affordable, am I correct?
I'm gonna share the microphone with you,
Sure,
sir.
thank you.
I think that was directed to me.
Yep.
So, we do not have to rely on market or affordable for our affordable housing obligation, but we do still have a guiding philosophy that we have to provide a realistic opportunity for affordable housing to occur within Gloucester Township. We have an affordable housing trust fund that is paid by developers as developer fees. So we are not obligated under our affordable housing obligations through the courts and also under the opinion of Fair Share Housing Center to do market to affordable to meet our obligation, but we have an affordable housing trust fund. What is appropriate to do if you have a trust fund specifically set aside to have realistic opportunity for affordable housing? You follow the guidelines that are presented, you have a spending plan. The spending plan has two components generally. One is the market to affordable program, which is listed at approximately $3.1 million. And then also we have an affordability assistance line item of $1.5 million. That is open to other developments that may need some gap financing to provide for affordable housing units. Perfect example of that was Senior Campus 1, where gap financing was absolutely critical for that 75 or 100% affordable senior development. So this spending plan may change as opportunities for affordable housing are presented and brought to Mayor and Council in Gloucester Township.
So we're not locked into what's here.
This is a living document, and that is why,
Definitely changing.
and that is why, unfortunately, some of my wordsmithing may be, I only changed absolutely what has changed since 19, and I apologize for missing the double asterisk reference and missing that header. But really, this is updated on a regular basis as things change. And I will say, for the last 24 months, I have not seen any municipalities really been successful with any market to affordable programs. The last 24 months has been very, very challenging for everyone in terms of trying to implement some of these items. That's why one of our goals and objectives was to make sure we were not required to be under any timeframes, especially with the pandemic and how everything is. And now it's the opposite of where we started in 2015 with the real estate market. Now we're on the opposite swing of this. So as the real estate market changes, I think you're probably going to have more opportunity for market to affordable, but I think you have to keep your plans and your objectives to meet the whole program period, which is a 10-year program period all the way through 2025. And in 2026, you're going to start another 10-year program period.
And that's exactly why market to affordable is still listed in here as
Right.
one of the guidelines.
Right. And as opportunities change, so may this plan.
And when we entered into our settlement negotiations with Fair Share Housing Center, our last 5 years, we had market to affordable in. This settlement go around, we removed it, but we also represented to the Fair Share Housing Center and the courts that we're still going to concentrate and focus on some market to affordable if it becomes available as we start to reach our 2025 and beyond. So that's why the program is still listed in here as some of the guidelines that go back when Affordable Housing Council first started.
Correct.
Thank you, Mr. Bob.
Okay, so I understand, I appreciate you responding to that. But what I heard was exactly the same thing. There's no reason for market to affordable. Now, you say it's a living document and it can be changed, adopted. Well, I'm of the belief that if you have a document that is susceptible to change, I think you ought to consider the money that you put along with it. Once you grab the money and you change the document, the money's already allocated. Now, one of the things that has been discussed and we've debated before is that how difficult it was for the last 24 months and COVID and the pandemic. Well, we put a lot of money out for people that did nothing, showed nothing for those past 24 months. I get that there was a pandemic. We all know that that happened. But apparently we paid people to have a function for that time, and we got none. And when you move forward with this living document, with money that's one way or another ours. You know, people tend to think grants are free money, they grow on a tree. Grant is from a different government, that's money from our pockets. If you want to do a living document, do it without the money and make your changes appropriately with the actions and leave the money behind. You will not show any results in the next 2 to 3 years with the market affordable. And if you argue that, you're defeating the purpose of who you are about promoting the township. If you're selling the market to affordable program, then you're saying our town and every home in our town, every private home doesn't have the full worth that the rest of us have paid and pay taxes for. If you can pull a house in this town and say, there's a good one for market affordable, you're devaluing just one home. I doubt you'll do it because this is a dud, but each and every person's paying taxes. They pay the taxes that you set forth. And you take one home, if you manage to find one and make it affordable. For 30 years, you're going to lock in that tax rate. And as the taxes rise, not on that house. And we'll be called upon to make up that difference. It's what you do. You do the affordable housing project well. You do. And each time, and I've been paying attention, not on all things, but some, they move the goalpost on us all the time. Mr. Carlemere, you've made that point very clear through the years, that whenever we satisfy the requirement, they go ahead and move the goalpost. And you respond, and you responded well. But let's take a look at that. Whatever you got to do, if you have a second reading and you put any money or any more forward action on a dud, you're not fulfilling your obligation. As a matter of fact, as it keeps on going back and forth, this looks like a tablable event. This does not look ready to pass tonight. And if you do, and you pass it with the affordable housing, you're not doing yourself a favor. You're devaluing homes in the township that you're trying to promote. Think about it. And I'm going to look at you council members that don't participate. You don't get to talk much. You don't get to say much other than cast your vote yes. When you vote tonight, think about what I said. Think about, and by the way, the time clock's not running. If you don't vote yes tonight, the sky's not going to fall. The world's not going to end again. It's done that many times in my life. Think about your vote. Think about tabling. I want to hear, when you cast your vote, I want to hear your opinions. Sit there quietly. I don't know if anybody's got to give you a nudge to wake you up or not, but participate. Tell me what you think about what I said. If you think I'm nonsense, tell me, I don't care. But tonight's the night you vote. On the affordable housing you watch, and market affordable, it's going nowhere. And Miss Grace, you've seen the housing authority meetings. I can't answer that. You guys have the action to take tonight. Do it tonight. It'd be a great move. I'll commend you if you do. Have a safe, wonderful night.
Just one thing, again, to Mr. Bob. Our market to affordable program. Yeah, we're projecting the future years 23, 24, and 25 for possible market to affordable. And you know, Mr. Palador knows that I've always said market to affordable programs have been difficult in New Jersey, not just in Gloucester Township, it's been difficult all over. That's one of the reasons for council why we've taken it out of our fair share settlement program, but also committed to the market to affordable projections for the future when we spoke with Fair Share Housing Center and the courts. So we're given a projection through right now through 2025, and there's some dollars in there for market to affordable. But like I said, it's a living document. It can change. Doesn't mean that that money is committed there and it has to sit there. If it's still a difficult program, then there's adjustments that are made.
Correct. And again, the recommendation has to be made to council, through the administration and to council to spend these dollars. So just because it's in the plan right now at a little over $1 million a year for the next 3 years for market affordable, unless those opportunities are secured and they're realistic and our trust fund a liaison or agent, Triad Associates, as well as administration and staff, say it's appropriate, you're not gonna spend $1. But you must allocate in the categories prescribed by the affordable housing process in New Jersey. You must prescribe in a spending plan what is in your trust fund. You can't just say, I'm not gonna spend it, because it is affordable housing trust fund. That's what it's there for.
Mr. Bob, can I just ask a few questions?
Sure.
Mr. Polidoro is under the impression, I think, I hate putting words in his mouth, but he's under the impression that the market to affordable program is a dud. And that because this spending plan references the allocation to market to affordable, that this plan is also a dud. It's my understanding that this is just simply a plan. And it is a plan that we are required to have.
Correct.
If we don't have a plan, what are the ramifications?
We're not in compliance with the guidelines in our affordable housing settlement agreement with the courts.
And then builders can do what?
Well, we won't have the presumption of a protection by the courts of our zoning. Our zoning could become invalid. So right now, we have enjoyed the protection of the courts since the initiation of this process since 2015. And we are working very hard to make sure we enjoy that protection going forward. This spending plan, except for my few typos, which I agree, is appropriate. The dollars are correct. It follows the guidelines. It's already been submitted to the courts and by the court's advocate, Fair Share Housing Center. So I'm comfortable. Yes, please.
No, but I want to make my point. My point is, this is a plan. We're not obligated to spend according to this plan. As opportunities come to us, we can react to opportunities and allocate the trust fund monies, which are in a trust fund, to the other opportunities.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bott. Is there anyone else? Ms. Coyne? Oh, before Ms. Coyne comes up, is there anyone else that would like to speak on this that has not spoken yet? This is just for this hearing on affordable housing, this ordinance. So Ms. Coyne, followed by Mr. Polidoro, then we'll end the hearing.
There's, Denise Coyne, 1060 Hughes Lane here. There's two things I'm still confused about, after this conversation. The first being, I've been looking at the Affordable Housing Trust Fund for a few years now. And the only money I see coming out of it goes to Mr. Bach, or I saw a $25,000 check to the Housing Authority. So it seems like there's thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars being paid out of this trust fund, and anybody who's looking for affordable housing can't get it. So it seems to me that something's not working. Because you hear all the time how people are on waiting lists for affordable housing and people can't afford to pay the rents that are being charged in the township, and they certainly can't afford to pay the taxes if they buy a property and they need affordable housing and they can't get it. And we have an affordable housing program, we have an affordable housing trust fund, and the only monies that are being paid from it are going to Mr. Bob and the Housing Authority. Can you hear me still?
Yeah, okay, cut off.
I can hear you.
So, I mean, that just doesn't make sense to me. And,
Mr. Chairman.
so I don't know if somebody can explain.
Mr. Bach or Mr. Carlo here, how do you respond to a resident who says the trust fund account only spends money on your firm?
So, under the guidelines of affordable housing, as was based on Co. Round 2, the Affordable Housing Trust Fund serves purposes of advancing affordable housing opportunities, realistic opportunities within the township. In that, is all of the planning, legal, and administrative fees necessary to make those opportunities occur. Since 2015, the township has gone from being obligated to utilize market affordable to receive the appropriate credits, being obligated to 100% fund construction for 100% affordable housing projects, to now having a multitude of inclusionary zoning opportunities where hopefully through the appropriate funding by private developers, these opportunities can occur. So you have worked tirelessly to create those opportunities through multiple redevelopment zones within the township. Those redevelopment zones are not paid through the general funds, but it's actually a provision of the Affordable Housing Trust Fund that you could utilize those fees to accomplish those things. They are 100% through the direction and for the purposes of realizing affordable housing in Gloucester Township.
In response to Mrs. So she did ask about a waiting list. Is there actually a waiting list, and how long is that waiting list?
There is no waiting list like a Gloucester Township waiting list. I know the Senior Campus One, at least last time I checked in about 18 months ago, has a waiting list. But we have no waiting list that the township administers at all. There are affordable housing websites that are available that does provide, and there is a draft of affirmative marketing plan that's also part of this affordable housing process with the courts that directs people to websites where affordable housing already occurs within the township. A good majority of the affordable housing that we receive credit for is existing affordable housing that the township prior to 2015 worked tirelessly to achieve. When we started the process in 2015, and I think that's a great analogy, moving the goalpost, our obligations that we thought we were relying on in the round two and what is now considered round three moved dramatically for Gloucester Township. So we were in great compliance in round two prior to 2015. Our obligations were increased substantially to the surprise of Gloucester Township and a lot of other municipalities throughout Camden County and the state. And now we have caught up with the goalposts, but we do not have a waiting list. But there are a lot of sites within the township that are already designated as deed restricted affordable housing that do have lists that you can provide, that you can get your names on, any of our constituents. Hopefully I answered that question. Did I? Okay.
Anything else, Ms. Coyne?
Yes.
Did that answer your question?
Yes. As far as somebody calling and needing affordable housing, I believe if you called today, you wouldn't be able to get any. Any place that has affordable housing is full. They do have waits. The other comment, the other thing I'm confused about is Mr. Hutchison repeated the comment of what happens if we don't do this. And the answer was we would not be in compliance. But from what I understand, the market to affordable program is not included in the number of housing units we're obligated to provide according to the state.
We have to have a plan.
I understand that.
That's my question was, if we don't adopt a plan, what happens?
Right, but we have an affordable housing plan, and the plan does not include market to affordable.
My question was, if we do not pass a plan, we don't adopt this, what happens?
Right, but
Is that, am I wrong?
No, we have to adopt a fair share spending plan. Fair share housing, courts are going to want to know that we comply with the requirements and we have a plan. And this plan, I feel, follows the guidelines that's been established for years through COA. We follow these type guidelines through the initial 5 years, and this brings us forward now through 2025. And like I said before, it's a living document. If market to affordable is not something that is going to be successful, and the plan gets amended, so long as we're meeting our compliance, we're in good shape. We have hearings coming up, and we want to be before the courts and say we have our spending plan in place.
Okay, so if I'm understanding you correctly, we're supposed to have an affordable housing plan that dictates how we're going to meet the number of housing units we're obligated to provide, and we're also supposed to have an affordable housing spending plan. So if this is a living document and it could be amended, is it possible to say we're spending nothing?
If you may. So I think the best, sorry, again, Steve Bach. I think the best way to say that this spending plan matches our current affordable housing plan. The previous spending plan that we had adopted in 2019 matched a former version of our affordable housing plan, which had an obligation on market affordable, but also an obligation for funding of construction. A while back, the township said, by resolution, I believe it was, that we will agree to fund any deficit of 100% affordable housing units that were in our plan. That is no longer in our current affordable housing plan, as recently adopted by the planning board and now is before the courts. So we're taking out that new construction funding component. And if you have an affordable housing trust fund of a certain dollar amount, you must allocate it to categories which are accepted by the courts. We're now allocating those categories to market affordable, which is accepted by the courts, and also affordability assistance. As opportunities occur, because we have many opportunities now throughout the township in appropriate locations, if opportunities occur where we can use these funds to help those projects get built, that's exactly what we'll do, and we'll amend the plans at those times.
So, Mr. Bach, if, as Ms. Coyne suggested, we allocate 0 to any plan, then what would that suggest to the court about the plan that we pass?
Why are we not using our affordable housing trust fund, and why are we not targeting and planning for using it to fulfill our obligation for realistic opportunities of affordable housing? We have certain categories we can put the money towards, and we are doing that right now.
This is one of the categories, and if we want to change our mind, we can change our mind.
Absolutely, but if you have $100 in the trust fund, you have to have a plan for $100. You can't say, I'm just going to,
Sit on.
yeah, and because that's not appropriate. That's what the whole purpose is. So hopefully that'll.
Is there anything else, Ms. Coyne?
Last question. Is there a timeline we have to spend this money by?
No.
Thank you.
No.
Thank you. Mr. Polidoro, you still want to come up?
Sure.
You take a shot at me, I'm come at you like a little bit.
You talking to? Ray Polidoro again from Ariel. I also was going to mention, with all due respect, Mr. Bach has a vested interest, all that goes on. He's a paid engineer for the township, respectable one, of course. And that there are certain answers or certain questions and comments that we're making as the taxpaying public versus what comments are made by an engineer. Now,
Who has far more experience in this field than you?
And
do you happen to know if they pay taxes here in the township?
No, he does not.
That's the difference between
Far more
them and us.
experience and expertise in this.
And I,
And
with all
Ray-
due respect, Mr. Bach.
Ray, maybe your comments would be better received by council here if they weren't driven with sarcasm. So just please make your comments.
Mr. Mercado, you above all shouldn't be talking about sarcasm.
I have not displayed that this evening. I don't display.
Wow, one night in a row, you're on a roll. Okay, so
Mr. Polidoro, please continue.
my question is this.
Mr. Crew?
Does council right now, or anyone, I'm just asking council, and with all due respect, Mr. Carter, it's just what my council members know. Do you know how much money is in the Affordable Housing Trust Fund today?
Mr. Carr's can respond to that if he wants to as well. You don't run the meeting, Mr. Polidoro.
I was looking for, my question was to council. You're voting on something, I'm asking what you know about what you're voting on. So you've already answered my question, so I'll go on to the next one.
Next.
Okay, so one thing that, and I have been to other meetings in other towns in the past to get a little flavor of how different towns work. Not lately, but one thing that I have seen is the state of New Jersey's trust funds of many, many different categories. Trust funds where money goes in, and it may sit, it may be targeted, it may not, but to some, it winds up being a cash cow. Now, besides money going out of the Affordable Housing Trust Fund that we have here for administrative and professional services, if I'm not mistaken, and correct me if I'm wrong, one other item that the Affordable Housing Trust Fund went for is the sale of a piece of property from the Gloucester Township Housing Authority to the township, which at some point it was planned that whatever several hundreds of thousands of dollars to sell that piece of property to township, the same trust fund money was going to be used to sell that same piece of property back to the housing authority. So when you say trust fund money targeted where it's got to go and money going in, it was designed, now it may not be going, but it was in the plans that trust fund money was going to sell a piece of property from the Gloucester Township Housing Authority to the Gloucester Township Town. And then you were going to sell the same piece of property from Gloucester Township Town back to the Gloucester Township Housing Authority. And there's that trust fund money. So putting money in, how much is in there? What's in there now? Adding more money to it. Again, what you do good is put affordable housing in the township. If you pass this, Dan, your question is always that, what if we don't, if it saves one beetle bug, won't it be worth it? But for the most part, looking at the money that's in there, which eventually you will figure out how much is in there, if there's enough that you don't have to pass the money along tonight and let that living document take on its shape for whatever adjustments are needed. If you do it without money, you can always add it.
Ray, we're not spending money.
Speaking to your microphone, please.
We're not spending money tonight.
You're passing something that's going to carry a dollar amount to it. And I'm going to give the Dan Hutchison question back to you. What if you pass it without putting the money on it and allow this living document to live with the money set aside that with it being a living document, you can always add if you need it? Because you're talking about up to 2025. Let's give it a chance. I still think this is not an item you should pass tonight.
We need a plan. We have to have a plan. Okay, we have to do that.
$3 more $1 million?
Right, we're not spending money tonight.
You will. The one thing this township does well is once you get your hands on it, it's good to spend.
Well, hopefully, because it's not our money, okay, hopefully we can spend it. Okay, hopefully we can.
I'm just saying the case in point is a piece of property, Dan, piece of property went back and forth with the same trust fund money.
But right, we want to spend the affordable housing trust funds to create affordable housing opportunities. That is why the trust fund exists.
Market to affordable is what I'm isolating out.
But Ray, that's a category. It doesn't lock us into doing that category.
But you have and you will. If we let it go past tonight, you tried to train this horse to run for 22 months. It's a donkey. It's not going to run with thoroughbreds. It's just not.
I can't convince you. I can't.
You shook your head in agreement with me at one time. I don't know what conversation you had. All right, but again, let me let you guys get to a vote. And council members that are usually on the sidelines, step up, think about what you're doing tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Close the public hearing. Entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion.
There's a second
Second.
on the question. Roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison.
Yes.
Ms. Grace.
Yes.
Mr. Young.
Yes.
Mrs. Winters. Yes. Mr. Mercado.
Yes. Consent agenda. Any council member that would like to remove any items from the consent agenda, please speak up. Hearing none, I entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second that.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Ms. Grace?
Yes.
Mrs. Winters?
Yes.
Mr. Manero?
Yes.
Mrs. Winters?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes. We did receive one eGov email that came in during our council meeting last, on March 14th, from Robert Shellick, and from 3411 High Street. And his question was, why is the police officer at the council meeting not paying attention? I see him on the video scrolling his cell phone every couple of minutes. The individual is taking a look at Chief Harkins, who is constantly monitoring activities throughout the police department. Chief Harkins responded to that individual directly, and I'm comfortable with your response. You're there, the camera is on you. Someone called you a bailiff. You're surely not a bailiff.
I don't think they can see the other officer.
Exactly.
So.
I had to read, not to embarrass you. I know I'm not embarrassing you, and you responded to it appropriately, so I appreciate it. We'll now have our second public portion. This is for any item that the public chooses to address. As each speaker is entitled to 5 minutes. There's a 30-minute time limit. Mr. Hill, you are first.
Tom's not taking all 5 minutes. No, I'm 200 questions. William Hill, 1544 Kearsley Road, Earring.
Evening, Wayne.
Good evening, how you doing? And I want to thank all officer for hearing, help me out with the question I was going to ask. Do we have a city ordinance in reference to panhandling in the township?
No, none that I'm bit. No. To my, when we've looked into this, most panhandling ordinances have been found unconstitutional, unenforceable. Every time a town has passed one, someone's fought it in court and been deemed to be unconstitutional. So while they're often a nuisance, we try other methods to try to help people. We have typically these people are homeless or have some other type of issues, maybe addiction or something like that. So we do encourage the public to call the police because we are able to try and funnel them. Obviously, if there's a safety hazard, sometimes standing in roadways, which often happens, we've become aware of it. In fact, I know Mr. Cardis has just witnessed one last week, and we asked the gentleman to move off, and it's typically the same folks that we run into. We try to provide them the services when we can.
Is there one in your particular neighborhood, or you see one on Berlin Cross Keys Road?
I seen Blackwood Limited Road in Laurel Road.
Yep.
He's right there on the corner.
It's actually on. We're very familiar with that gentleman. We try to provide him assistance regularly. He keeps coming back. It's persistent.
Yes.
Does he live in town, Chief?
Yes.
He's got somewhere to sleep at night?
He has an apartment in a local apartment complex, to my knowledge.
Just don't want it to be a nuisance, and I don't want it to be like in the cities. You know,
I get concerned about him getting hit by a car, causing issues like that, traffic issues and all that.
Yes.
You know, we're really tried, and the community relations officers even could speak more because they deal directly with them, trying to get him some resources. So that he doesn't do that anymore.
Is he on the ShopRite corner?
No, he's on the side, I guess.
Where the
Dollar
Sunoco
General's
is.
across
Okay,
from the-
across.
He'll move all across though. Unfortunately, Gloucester Township, Pine Hill and Lindenwall come together at that intersection, and he'll move to the other corner. But I mean, we all know that we enforce that throughout the other towns.
Yeah,
So-
he had a Wawa, a large Wawa company. He was walking in between cars. Yeah.
All right.
My second question is in regards, since unfortunately maybe another police question, speed bumps. I live on Kearsley Road, and there's times where it seems like it's a raceway. Now, I know the police are, they have other duties, and, they can't be writing tickets all the time, but is there an ordinance, or how do you go about getting like speed bumps put into a street?
So speed bumps are very costly. They're not impossible to get. Our research, and we've done a lot of research with surrounding town, we don't typically have them on our public streets. The biggest complaints that we get are from the residents whose house is near the speed bump, because people hit them at a high rate of speed and it makes a lot of noise. There's concerns, issues with some of our fire apparatus going over top of them and them having to slow down. Again, I'm not saying that they're not, but we try to balance out the cost of installation because it takes engineering, it takes the cost of doing, you have to redo that portion of the roadway. And then from my experience speaking with other chiefs of police who have them, they get complaints from the resident where the speed bump is at. We try to take different measures, and enforcement always is a way. We have a traffic complaint management system that we do. We actually take roadway measurements of speed and counts and things like that. And quite frankly, we try to narrow in when the times where the most speeders hit those roadways and try to do enforcement. So I can certainly, if there's, we can certainly get more information from you, and we will certainly take your under advisement to do more enforcement, whatnot there. And please feel free, if there's specific times, contact our community relations at any time. It's on our website, gtpolice.com. Let us know, because we only know about these things. We can't be everywhere, and it takes a resident like yourself to let us know, but we'll certainly have actions that we can take for the speeding. I hope that answers your question.
And snow removal and maintenance is a challenge.
Absolutely. Okay. So that would be a problem if you have, that would be a problem if you have speed bumps in the road. Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Hill.
Is there anyone else? Ms. Smith?
Hello, good evening, council members. My name is Shaughnessy Smithman. I reside in SDK Millbridge Gardens Apartments on Millbrook Court. If I could comment on the previous citizens' topic of people panhandling, I have noticed people panhandling throughout my life in different rural and urban areas. After being homeless temporarily, by definition homeless, I was by no means truly homeless. I did not have the experiences of, I had a way out because I was so new to being homeless. I still had resources. When people panhandle, I do find that it's not necessarily a majority due to addiction or things that we might assume, especially in areas like this. They do tend to share with the things that they do not have access to that do cost money, such as water, certain healthcare services, transportation. There's things that cost a great deal. And when you're homeless, you know other homeless people and they help each other to hopefully get one or two people in front of the council to speak. So if you, just in case you feel that anybody you notice panhandling, it may not necessarily be a drug addiction. I have noticed the panhandlers also cleaning the, I saw one gentleman, I was walking and I asked if he would assist to clear the storm drain, and he did. He didn't realize, and he had done it. It's a great deal of help and a contribution to the community. I did bring up previously a small section of sidewalk on Kelly Drivers Road. On September 27th, 2021, approximately, I did contact the clerk's office. They sent me to the tax assessor. There is a Group 4 Equities LP. I don't know what that is, but I think it's the name of a company that is in charge of the Commerce 1 or 2 Plaza, the one located on the corner of Kelly Drivers Road and Blackwood Clementon Road. It's the northwest corner, approximately 150 feet. heading down Kelly Drivers Road, there's a little, one square of sidewalk that's not complete. Do you want their address? Because I sent them a postcard, but they did not respond.
And you believe it's their property?
That's what I was told by the Gloucester Township Municipality Clerk's Office. The tax assessor said that it,
When you're done, your 5 minutes, if you can provide that address to Ms. Power, she'll take it from you. The clerk, right here.
I only see the back of the computer. It appears that her name is Dell. Also, with the new budgets that are going in there, previously I had heard that the township wanted to purchase a steam roller for roads and also use it for divots in soccer fields. Is that correct?
Some of the athletic fields, baseball fields.
And we also outsource to independent companies ambulances. Is that correct? You had said that ambulances are outsourced to an independent company. They're no longer, I'm sure that you could receive services from an ambulance directly attached to a hospital or your local volunteer fire department if they still have them at those.
Inspire is providing ambulance service to our township.
They're providing ambulance services. If we can purchase a steamroller, couldn't we purchase an ambulance? I'm going to bring up, if I could, once again, there's no ordinance and there is no law.
Well, I'm going to answer that because you're not just purchasing a piece of equipment, a vehicle, you need staffing for that. So this is outsourced to Inspira. We've had issues over the last few years. It receives every couple of years. We've had to change horses and go to a different EMS service. So Inspira is now what we have in place.
Wouldn't you also need someone to operate the steamroller?
Public Works. We have people who can do that in-house.
Well, an ambulance, you're saying that.
We don't have anyone in-house that can do that.
Right. Because there is a lack of ordinance and law, written law, for things such as stillborn children, not born, I don't even know if they're considered born. They're not
Ms.
from.
Smithman, I'm sorry, your time is up. If we have some more time, you can come back.
They
Thank
are
you very much.
not born in hospitals.
Ms. Smithman, we're trying to adhere to the time. Thank you very much.
Who do I need to speak to? Do I need to wait till after the meeting or?
No, I asked you to get that to Ms. Power right here, the clerk. That address. Is there anyone else? Mr. Crew.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mr. Crew.
Evening, Council. Paul Crew, Blackwood Estates. I will attest, Chief, you certainly pay attention and have always provided me with clear and concise answers at meetings, and it was a nice ceremony this evening. I also wanted to congratulate and thank Brian Burns. It's a testament, Resolution 92 this evening is a testament to your persistence and hard work. You led this effort from start to finish as the liaison between Green Acres, the citizens who had properties that could rightfully fall under the program, and this council. And I believe due credit needs to go to Brian Burns. I congratulate him and I thank him, and I think I speak for many others in thanking him as well. I don't have a beautiful trout stream to show you when I bring up my topics, but I do have numbers which can paint the picture of what continually indebting the citizens of this township does, the burden it puts on them. And once again, those numbers are a 333% increase in the municipal budget. 2001 being a $15 million budget, 2021 being a $65 million budget. Presented with a unique opportunity, the last council meeting, where we could have used these citizens' tax dollars, your citizen tax dollars, in order to offset capital projects to the tune of $6.4 million. For a reason I don't logically see, we decided to ignore taking that unique opportunity. So I was hoping this evening to hear from you as to why we decided to ignore that unique opportunity and what the $6.4 million specifically, what the agenda for that is.
I have not received the budget for this year, but I believe money from that allocation is going to be earmarked in the budget. I have not, council's not formally received that. Mrs. Carr, is there anything you want to add to that?
No. Does any other council member have an opinion, suggestion, idea of how that should be used? Because you had the opinion, thought that it should not be used for what the federal government thought it could be used for, which was infrastructure projects. So I assume you have an idea or thought as to what it could be used for to the benefit of the citizens and yourselves.
I'll await receipt of the budget and look how they're proposing to use it. I think I was clear last meeting what I thought on that question as to why I didn't want to use it for infrastructure. Was I not?
You were not, no. Yes.
Do you remember my response?
Yeah, it was a hope and a prayer.
What was my response to the question?
You hoped that the administration would utilize it in the upcoming municipal budget.
Okay, that's true. Okay, but your question also, I think, went beyond that. Your question tonight says, why are you not using it on infrastructure, right?
That ship has sailed. You decided not to use it. I know that you did not want to use it. Each of you voted against that. I'm asking, what specifically can we do moving forward to help decrease the tax burden
If I can use.
to the citizens of Gloucester Township, utilizing taxes that we've already
That money
paid?
can be used to offset the need to raise money through taxing the residents. That's what I support. Is that clear?
And you have the indication that that is what's going to be
Well, I don't-
presented at this council.
Well, I mean, if you're gonna put me on the spot, I'm gonna throw it back at you. I don't propose the budget. I think that my voice has been heard. Okay, I'm not going to overstep my legislative responsibilities tonight, tell them what they have to do. But I think I've been clear tonight and the last meeting that I want that money to be used to offset the need to raise revenue through taxing the residents. Is that clear?
That is much more clear.
That's exactly what I said last meeting.
Not as clearly as you just stated
No,
it, but I appreciate how
Why
clearly
play-
you just
why
stated
play
that.
the video? You and him can have coffee after tonight, and you can watch last meeting.
No, they go to skiers. Your time is up, Mr. Krug. If we have more time, you can come back up. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? That has not spoken yet? Oh, miss in the red.
Good evening, council. I just wanted to make a
Can I have your
comment.
name and your address?
Oh, sorry. My name is Danielle and in Blackwood Estates,
Danielle, what you listening?
Berminsky. Berminsky.
Berminsky, okay.
Thank you. I just wanted to make a comment more so. just because I had, a few weeks ago, maybe a month and a half, I don't know. I was dealing with, stuff around my property that, I think you were involved with, semi. Maybe not.
What was the stuff around your property?
It was involving a fence that was taken down. And then I think I had questions on the proper removal process, which I tried to follow.
Mr. Bucciaroni, were you dealing with Mr. Bucciaroni from Public Works?
I don't know, but I was getting into public work, so
Because he contacted me about a fence situation. I did not know if it was yours.
it might have been.
Okay.
Well, I don't know if it was, but yes.
Was it resolved?
But so everything was cleaned up and everything's cleared up.
Okay.
So I just more or less wanted to thank whoever that, I guess that Public Works.
Public Works.
Okay. All right. And is that, now, the website, are all the email addresses hidden?
On the,
Or like on a different page? Was it redesigned or something?
not recently, but it's normally what, first initial, last name at glowtwip.com.
Okay. And as far as departments? Oh, I guess under departments.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. That's great. All right, thank you.
While you're here,
Yes.
their events are returning, because I know you asked this question in the fall.
Mhm.
Events are returning to the township. There's the Gabriel Davies Tavern, I think the third week or in April, that weekend, the Historical Society event. There's the festival out, is it May in Blackwood Estate, downtown Blackwood?
Right.
There's arts, okay?
Okay.
So things are returning back to normal. It was nice seeing a full, council chambers here. So, at the next meeting, the scholarship committee will be here with a bunch of aspiring high school seniors looking for $1,000 scholarships. So we're getting back to normalcy. So I know you had concerns about some of those events not taking place.
Correct.
And I think we all feel a little bit more comfortable now having those things.
Okay, great. And the green team, is that meeting anytime soon or? Because I know I attended a meeting like a while back, but I
I can
haven't
have
heard
the mayor's
anything
office try-
since, so I just don't.
I can have the mayor's office contact you. You can provide your information up here to the clerk.
Yeah.
You can come on up. You asked me a question. Is there anyone else? Ms. Smithman?
Right here.
Shaughnessy Smithman, Millbridge Gardens Apartments. Thank you for allowing me to speak again this evening. There's a multidimensional process that I'm trying to convey. While it's not an emergency, I think it might be helpful for the things that I've noticed in my 44 years, close to 45, in life. Before I ran out of time, you had mentioned I was trying to mention the lack of ordinance and lack of law for situations that can occur. When I had brought up previously what someone would do in the case of a sudden onset of a stillborn child, it doesn't seem to have a response yet that I feel that the council is understanding. If something like that occurred, the physical trauma and the emotional trauma to everyone involved, there doesn't seem to be a guideline to it. And just trying to put myself into a situation like that, it just really needs to be acknowledged in some way, what an ordinance of some kind, even if there's an ordinance that says there's no ordinance, we can tell anyone, look, if that happens, there is no ordinance. Then maybe they'll think of something on their own, because when we don't know what to do, it's very frightening. And it did open up the opportunity to bring up that a lot of people don't have access to the local police and the local fire departments for where they are. And some of the most valuable information, the most helpful information might come from people that aren't from this town, because they might notice different hazards that we just aren't aware of, things that could have happened in their town. And they wouldn't have the ability to quickly access the local police or the local fire departments. So if we could place the address to the local police and the local fire department on every street post that's located in the town, that way, if you see a situation, if you're observing it, you'll know where you're sending it. It could be something as simple as a postcard. The United States Postal Service is very forgiving when it comes to things such as postcards and what can be used. They could just jot a note, put a stamp on it if they have. I have stamps in my wallet. I'm pretty archaic though, along with a lot of dust. They could simply write whatever hazard they see or any information they would like to get through to the local fire or the local police department. It would also help with the homeless. Homeless people are extremely smart and educated. They would be able to also identify different things, and they would most likely not have access to a phone, a cellular phone, the internet. And honestly, when you're homeless, the biggest issue is where you're gonna pee. Because there's not town water, there's not a town toilet either. There's a lot of things that I took for granted my whole life, and if I just could convey to you, there's a lot more things to think about, and there's a lot of issues that could be solved, and we could all get relief if we all have access to the same ears and the same minds, so we can all work together. In all my experiences, while many are not, they're not the best. I believe every person tries. Everybody tries to work together. We're all here through ignorance, through lack of maturity. We're all here trying to exist together. But there's a lot of things that are not the same for everyone. This could be one of them, and the one situation is very important. One, give everyone access. If you put it on the signpost, it'll create jobs. The people that install the signs can go in and make sure that the address is on every street post, along with the phone number. Is it even worth considering?
Ms. Smithman, we've addressed this several times.
All right. Okay, I don't mean to cut you off, but I do have 10 more seconds.
You asked me a question. No, I'm going to give you a little bit more time when responding to. And over the last few weeks, I've thought about having a conversation with you in the back and sitting there with you, because you've come up here over the last few months and brought up the same subject matter. And that's fine. You're entitled to 5 minutes. We have people that speak ad nauseum about certain things here. But you come up here and you're respectful. You have an issue that you feel you're adamant about, and you're sincere in your delivery here. But I've told you this before. Some of the topics that you bring up are beyond the scope of what local government does and what we as council can do. The stillborn children, I know that's a matter that's dear and close to your heart. That's not something that we can address here. So I ask you, when you come up here, you can talk about anything you want to talk about for 5 minutes, but the response is going to be the same every week in regards to that. In regards to having the contact number on posts or fire hydrants, that's not going to happen as well. Those fire hydrants are owned by the water company, leased out to the fire departments, the fire districts.
I apologize, I was brainstorming.
Okay. And the postal box, we cannot put that on postal box. That's the United States
Also
Postal Service.
brainstorming.
Okay, but you continue to bring these things up. And that's why I wanted to talk to you in the back.
The street
Because
posts.
these things are important to you. But unfortunately, there's people that sit in the audience that chuckle and laugh at it, because I see their faces.
I was an adult entertainer. I'm used to being laughed
But
at,
this is
especially since I
important.
was not very good at it.
This is important to you, and we're going to give you that time for you to speak on it. But I also want to be realistic. These things are not going to take place. It's beyond our scope of council.
Well, do we own the street sign, the posts? Like if it's, whatever the corner street is that owned by the township?
People will contact 911 and they will direct them to the number that's appropriate.
All right. If I did have one more topic if I could.
Well, your time is up. I'm sorry.
You told me I would have more time.
Okay, I'll give you some more time. I'll give you another minute.
All right, thank you. If it should become available, I did contact the Gloucester County store located in Voorhees, previously known as Echelon. If it does become available, which it is not now, something to the effect of making it accessible to people who have overstepped the infringement rights, if they have duplicated movies, DVDs, or music of any kind, or even art, anything that they should not have. If they can come up with some type of program where people can go and, basically turn themselves in and tell them what they saw, what they heard, or what they did, and give them an opportunity to try to make it right. With the township growing in population, I feel that a lot of people, if they had done that when they were not supposed to, would make good on it. They would, pay the fine and the penalty, and it would not only prevent them from doing it again, it would most likely increase the sales of buying it through the proper channels. That would create business for the local community. I did notice a lot of small businesses trying to sell different items that might be helpful. They could go door to door, whatever it may be, or open a little store. If something like that became available, would that be something that Gloucester Township would be interested in providing for the members of the community?
Again, I think that's beyond our scope as well. So when you first came to our council meetings, you talked about, is this similar to DVDs and things that are not?
Well, if somebody owns them, or
bootleg?
if somebody either is in possession of them or has produced them, to just give them the opportunity to turn themselves in. I think that they would, and if not, then they're still subject to the fines and penalties of the Federal Bureau of Investigations. Rightly so. But I think that since they cannot pursue the individual crime, for the smaller ones, I think people would turn themselves in, and it might be helpful.
I think that's beyond our scope. But
Really? But we're on Zoom. I mean,
I'll have a conversation with the chief on that. So thank you very much for your comments this evening.
All right, thank you, council members.
That concludes our public hearing, our second public portion.
I'm going to ask politely, Mr. Krug, I kind of was heavy-handed with him right before the end. Ms. Shaughnessy took a little bit extra time. Can we just give him a chance to respond? He wanted to, I think he had his hand up.
I'm going to adhere to the 30-minute time limit. Thank you very much. That closes the second public portion. Calling the directors.
Mr. Carlemere.
Nothing to report.
Mr. Carter.
Nothing to report.
Chief Harkins.
I just want to thank Council President, Council, and I leave out Mr. Carlemere, Mrs. Power, Mr. Cardis. Thank you I know we took up a lot of time tonight, and I appreciate the inconvenience, but I appreciate all the support that the whole team provides here. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Mr. Chadwell.
Nothing to report.
Mr. Hutchison.
I enjoyed the commentary from the audience today. Ray, it's always fun. Paul? Nothing personal. Okay, so, and Mr. Mercado, I understand the need to follow the rules for it. Thank you.
Ms. Grace.
Chief, thank you for swearing in all mayor. Thank you for swearing in all of our officers, and you didn't take up any of our time. I enjoyed the ceremony. Want everyone to have a good night. I'm losing my voice even though I wasn't doing any talking. But the fair housing plan is been a long discussion, and I am confident at some point that we are going to be able to use those funds to help our community, those in our community. I think we just need to give it the time that it needs. We were in a pandemic and there's a plan there, so, and there's flexibility there. So, have a good night.
Mr. Mignone?
Congratulations to our police officers this evening. Everyone be safe going home and have a wonderful week. Thank you.
Mrs. Winters?
I want to thank the officers for everything that they do for us to keep our township safe and the quality township that we have. And just congratulate the officers that were promoted and new officers this evening, and thank everyone for their comments. Have a great week.
Mr. Mercado?
I want to thank everyone for coming out this evening and those that are watching at home. Those that attend our meetings and those that watch it from home probably have a different reaction about what takes place here at council. Those that come and speak, I ask them to be respectful, and I ask that for my colleagues to, in return, provide that respect to them. And we try to keep an order to our council meetings. At the last meeting, an individual said he will filibuster all night. And what I'm trying to do is move forward with the township's business. And so I will continue to make sure that we adhere to our rules of order here in our council chambers. Chief, that was a wonderful ceremony. It was great having the folks here in the Field Council Chamber. Congratulations to the officers that were promoted and those that had come on board. This past Saturday, Councilman Mignone, Councilwoman Grace, and I attended the Blackwood Fire District installation dinner. These normally take place in the month of January and February. Every 5 weeks in a row, 4 weeks in a row, we're invited to these events, and it's a wonderful event recognizing the accomplishments of the fire districts from the previous year and installing new officers. There was a special presentation that was made regarding a firefighter that had passed away. He was a lifetime member there named Charlie Miller. Charlie was very instrumental in the Blackwood Farmers Market, but also Charlie was very instrumental in the creation, the movement of the Blackwood Christmas Parade from a daytime parade to an evening parade. And that started in 1987. That's something that Michael and Carol and I learned that evening there. And his wife was there along with his daughters and his family. And that event, as we came back to normalcy, when that took place in December, that's part of reopening our town again. And that's something that I think as a township we look forward to. I look forward to participating in it, walking in it. And I think that our families are, that's an enjoyable event for our community. So I just wanted to mention that because I thought that was very important, and the fact that they recognized the overall winner or best showing in the parade is going to be given the Charlie Miller Award. And so he was a long-time member of this community. We have baseball openings that are taking place. Blackwood Kiwanis is this Saturday, followed by Ariel next Friday. Is that right, Ms. Mignone?
This is.
So again, the reopening of our township. At our next meeting on April 11th, there will be the Gloucester Township Scholarship Committee will be providing scholarships to high school seniors. These are $1,000 scholarships for them to go to college. So that drawing will take place here in person. And 2 days prior to that, on April 9th, is our 5K race here in the township that supports the Gloucester Township Scholarship Committee, that event. So with that, I entertain a motion to adjourn. All those, is there a second? Thank you, Mr. Mignone. All those in favor? Have a great evening, everyone.
Yeah.